Hello, my name is Adam Manuel, and in this video I'm going to discuss how I would enhance the History 221 class, specifically the American History 1 class. So this topic I chose was the Great Awakening, because I feel that that is in many ways a very important topic in American history, and I feel that it could probably be very difficult for an instructor to teach, because if you think about all the various different denominations, the Puritans, the Baptists, the Methodists, the Presbyterians, and all the list grows and grows and grows as the awakening continues, and stuff like that. So I thought that I would input on how to improve this course by using three sources I found. I found three sermons, one by George Whitefield, one by Jonathan Edwards, and one by Samuel Davis. Three very important ministers during the Great Awakening. But one thing I did was I looked for three sermons that are not as famous as their sermons that are known by anyone who has studied the Great Awakening for any amount of time. So I looked for three sermons that were not as well known as some of their other sermons. And what I decided to, I came up with two options that an instructor could do to teach and further enhance the student's understanding of the Great Awakening. So the first idea I had was that the instructor could assign a compare and contrast essay. And in that, obviously, the students would read all three sermons, and then after reading the sermons, they could compare and contrast the sermons. And out of that, they could recognize the differences and similarities between the sermons. And then I extrapolated that even further, and I said that a person could then use that to have the students see how what they were saying compares to what the official doctrine of the Baptist or the Lutheran or the Presbyterian or the Anglican, and then that way they can look at it and say, yes, this minister who was claiming to be a specific doctrine was speaking toward these certain ideas. And I feel that would help these students both know the doctrine of these specific denominations, but it would also help them to understand and see how in many ways these denominations were similar. They just had very minor or sometimes very large differences. The other idea that I came up with, and it could be considered, you could use it as a game, and you could actually get the students pretty involved and worked up over it. You could take those three sermons and mark out any kind of recognition of name of the three ministers, and after lecturing in class about the various doctrines of the Baptist or the Presbyterian or the Methodist or the Anglican, so the student has notes that they can reference to and see a minister that is Methodist would be speaking this idea. The person who's a Baptist would be speaking toward this idea. Then they can, after reading the sermons, they can play a game saying, who wrote this? Who wrote this? And it would probably be difficult to get a specific name of the person because you'd be using a sermon that is not as well known, but they could at least get the correct discipline or doctrine, and then you maybe give extra credit if they can figure out the actual person who wrote it, and you can maybe give them a list of names or something like that. I feel that would actually be very helpful in enhancing the classroom, because it would basically be giving them something that they can touch. They can something that they can see the words of these people, the doctrines that they believed in, and then they can apply it to their memory. They can go further in the classroom understanding what they were listening to because they did an assignment that used these ideas quite effectively in their study. Thank you.